I have been telling for years that it is time that the politicians should be watched, and this should be looked after by psychiatrists, psychoanalysts, since the nuclear weapons have come in existence. The politicians have become immensely powerful, and power certainly corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It not only corrupts, it gives you a megalomania. And every politician is a split personality. He has to be. He says one thing, he does another. He is always having a mask to show to the people, and his real face is always hidden. Longer he remains in power, more possibility of his going neurotic, schizophrenic. It was okay in the past because all these politicians could not do much harm. But today it is absolutely different. A single politician with mentally, psychologically sick can destroy the whole beautiful planet. I have been waiting from psychoanalysts and psychiatrists themselves to declare about this situation, and the declaration has come today. Two psychiatrists, very famous, worldwide known, Dr. Jeblo Hersman and Dr. Julian Leib, wrote in the Washington Post recently that there should be a shrink in the White House. At present, there is an official physician for the president, but no psychiatrist. They said that in this nuclear age, when the president of the US can start a nuclear war, one has to make sure that he is mentally stable and not subject to euphoria, manic depression, or suicidal tendencies. They cited several examples. President Nixon, before he resigned, had been miserable for months, avoiding people, taking long walks alone. He refused to talk about how he felt and had drawn away from his family. He was not sleeping enough and once could not sleep for 4 nights in a row. He was drinking too much, sometimes before lunch. He had become unpredictable, 1 minute close to tears, the next furious over some bit of nonsense, and an hour later on top of the world. Sometimes he seemed out of focus. He rambled or gave orders that were ridiculous. One night he walked the halls of the White House talking to the portraits of the walls. On the walls, he hinted of suicide. Such episodes, say Hersman and Leib, are usually kept under wraps, but we have begun to realize how widespread the phenomenon is, from the periodic inertia of Ronald Reagan to the latest revelations about Lyndon Johnson to the details of incapacitating conditions suffered by Woodrow Wilson. and Franklin Roosevelt. It is a good sign that every president, not only American president, every prime minister, whoever has the power to destroy this world, should have a personal psychiatrist looking after him. But that is not enough, because man is body, the personal physician can look after it. Man is mind, the psychiatrist can look after it, but man is something more too. So what these two psychiatrists, Hersman and Liev, are suggesting is an incomplete cure. Every president, every prime minister, every king around the world should also have a master of meditation. Only then we can be safe, and this planet can be safe. Psychiatry can only help to keep the mind normal at the most, but its limit is the mind. But man's existence is far bigger. It is beyond the mind. That beyond has to be understood also. And that beyond only can create right sanity. That beyond can make you peaceful and silent, creative, celebrating. Once you know something of the beyond, you are no more suicidal and you are no more murderous. Nuclear weapons will disappear from the world if we can make the politicians to understand the absolute necessity. Just as they are not feeling embarrassed by having a personal physician, they should not be embarrassed by having a personal psychiatrist, and they should not be embarrassed by having a personal master of meditation. These have become absolute necessities. If we want the world to survive, the politicians have to be kept under control by intelligent people, by people who know the secrets of life, of eternity, and the people who can impart that energy, that understanding, that experience of the innermost being. This is the only possibility. Otherwise, there is no hope for humanity, and no hope for life, and no hope for Gautam Buddha's people rising to the highest peak of consciousness, to the deepest depth of consciousness. And this planet is special. It is very small planet, but it is absolutely unique because it has life, consciousness, and the opportunity for evolving into Gautam Buddhas. It should be saved at any cost. We cannot afford a global suicide. I thank Dr. Hersman and Dr. Liev for their suggestions. but I would like to know them that their suggestions are incomplete. Because more psychiatrists go mad than any other profession. 4 times more. More psychiatrists commit suicide than any other profession. More psychiatrists are vulnerable for all kinds of mind sicknesses. Because the psychiatrist is not a meditator. This is our whole inner poverty. The psychiatrist knows about the mind, but mind is not in itself the eternal source of life. It can slip any moment into neurosis. Any moment it can become megalomaniac. A little power. I am also worried about the psychiatrists who will be looking after the presidents and the prime ministers, because they may themselves turn out to be megalomaniacs, because they are having now great power. So their suggestion is good, but it has to be supported by a master of meditation who can look after the president or prime minister and also can look after the psychiatrist. Do you understand what I mean? It is absolutely urgent, because we don't have much time before somebody goes crazy. Any moment, the destruction of the earth is imminent.